If you've got 2 or 3 college aid letters sitting on your kitchen table right now, and one of them looks noticeably cheaper than the others, stop. Don't make that call yet. Because the way aid offers are designed, the cheapest looking number in year 1 is almost never the cheapest number over 4 years. And when you know how to compare college financial aid offers the right way, the picture can flip completely. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to do that comparison, why loans hiding inside those packages are quietly inflating your real cost, and what 4-year college cost actually looks like once tuition inflation and loan interest enter the math. There's also one thing I want to show you near the end, a flag inside the comparison process that most parents never notice, and it points to a door that a lot of families don't even know they can open. That's coming up. Let me tell you about Darnell. Mid-50s, lives with his wife and younger daughter, the kind of dad who color codes his highlighters before he sits down with paperwork. His daughter got into 3 schools, and she has a clear favorite. When the aid offers came in, the top choice school looked like the obvious financial winner, $8,000 cheaper per year on the surface. Darnell almost called it done right there. But Darnell runs spreadsheets for a living, so he didn't stop at year 1. He ran the 4-year numbers, factored in tuition inflation at a conservative 4% per year, looked at what the loans inside each offer would actually cost over a 10-year repayment window, and the gap didn't just close, it flipped. The school that looked $8,000 cheaper per year on paper turned out to be significantly more expensive over the full arc of 4 years of school plus a decade of loan payments. That's the comparison most families never run. Here's the core problem with the way aid letters are presented. Schools are not required to use a standard format. One school calls something a University Merit Scholarship. Another calls something a institutional grant. A third buries 4 different loan types: subsidized federal, unsubsidized federal, maybe a Perkins-style institutional loan, sometimes a Parent Plus, in the same column as grants, and the total at the bottom looks like aid. It isn't. Loans are not aid. They're debt with interest. When you compare college financial aid offers side by side without separating grants from loans first, you're not comparing real offers. You're comparing marketing documents. The first thing to do with any offer is split it into 2 buckets. Bucket 1, money you don't have to pay back. Grants, scholarships, work study if you know your student will actually use it. Bucket 2, money you do have to pay back, with interest. Every loan goes in bucket 2, regardless of how the letter labels it. Once you've done that split, the real out-of-pocket number per year becomes visible, and that number is usually meaningfully different from the headline figure on the letter. Now here's the part most people miss, and this is where Darnell's situation gets really instructive. Even after you do that split, you're still only looking at year 1. And year 1 is the smallest bill you'll ever get from that school. Tuition goes up, room and board goes up. The 4-year college cost calculation has to account for that drift. A conservative model uses 4% annual tuition inflation. That's been the rough average over a long period, though some years run higher. At 4% compounding, a $32,000 cost in year 1 becomes around $37,000 in year 4. Over the full 4 years, you're paying an average that's meaningfully higher than that first-year sticker. If you just multiplied year 1 by 4, you're underestimating total cost by several $1,000s before you even factor in loan interest. And then there's the loan interest layer. A federal subsidized loan doesn't accrue interest while your student is in school, but an unsubsidized loan does, and that interest capitalizes at repayment. A $5,500 unsubsidized loan in freshman year has been quietly growing for 4 years by the time your student walks across the stage. By the time you run a 10-year standard repayment amortization, that loan costs significantly more than the face value. Stack that across 4 years of loan draws, and the true cost of college over 4 years can look very different from what you thought you signed up for. This is exactly what Darnell found when he ran the full model. The offer from his daughter's top choice school looked $8,000 cheaper per year, but the loan composition was different. More unsubsidized, higher total loan volume, and tuition at that school had been increasing slightly faster than the other 2. When he modeled it out over 4 years plus repayment, the number wasn't close. The offer that looks the cheapest in year 1 actually costs $42,000 more over 4 years than the offer he almost passed up. $42,000. That's not a rounding error, that's a car. That's 2 years of rent in a lot of cities. So what do you actually do with this information? This is where the aid offer comparison process becomes a real decision tool instead of just a gut check. You're laying the offers side by side and asking 4 questions. What's the grant-only aid? No loans? What's the real net cost in year 1 after grants? What does the 4-year compounded cost look like at realistic tuition inflation? And what does the loan repayment actually cost over a standard 10-year window? When you have answers to all 4 questions for each school, you can make an actual comparison, not a sticker price comparison, a true cost of college over 4 years comparison. Now here's the open loop I mentioned at the top, and this is the part Darnell found genuinely interesting. When you run a proper aid offer comparison, some schools will come back with a flag, an indicator that the gap between what the school offered and what the family's numbers actually show is large enough that a professional judgment appeal is worth filing. That's not a Hail Mary. That flag exists because financial aid offices have discretion under federal statute to adjust your student aid index when circumstances warrant it. If your income, assets, or family situation supports a different picture than what the FAFSA originally captured, an appeal can close part of that gap. And that flag is essentially saying, this school's offer is soft enough that there's room to ask. Darnell's daughter's top choice school came back with that flag, which means 2 things are true at the same time. The 4-year math currently looks worse for that school, and there's an opening to go back to that school's financial aid office with documentation and a specific counteroffer. That's the move he's working on now. He's not picking the cheaper school by default. He's using the comparison to build his appeal case. Specifically, the gap between what that school offered and what the other 2 offered is now documented evidence he can put in front of a financial aid director. I've got the full walkthrough of how that appeal works. The documentation, what to lead with, how to frame the counterfigures, in the pack at FAFSA-appeal.com. The income change worksheet and the comparison-backed appeal letter template are both in there. If you're in Darnell's exact situation, where the school your kid wants isn't the school the math currently favors, that's the tool that does the heavy lifting. Back to you for a second, because Darnell's situation might look different from yours, but the core move is the same. You separate grants from loans. You run the 4-year compounded model, not just year 1. You look at loan composition, not just loan totals. And you ask whether the school with the worse offer has enough discretion in their aid process that an appeal makes financial sense. Sometimes the answer is no. The offer is final and the math is the math. But more often than people expect, there's room. Financial aid directors have real authority to move that number. The families who get better offers are almost always the families who asked with documentation in hand. That's the thing Darnell understood almost immediately once he ran the real numbers. The $8,000 annual advantage he thought he was looking at wasn't real, but the $42,000 gap he uncovered once he did the proper aid offer comparison, that was very real, and it gave him leverage he didn't know he had. The comparison didn't just tell him which school was cheaper, it told him exactly what to fight for, and why. If this video helped you see something in your own stack of aid letters that you hadn't seen before, a like actually helps this get in front of other parents who are staring at the same confusing pile of paperwork. And there are a few more videos on this channel that walk through the appeal process step by step. They're worth watching in order if you've got time. The comparison is where everything starts. Run it the right way, and you might find out you've had more options than you thought.